Have you ever noticed that the boy in white never gives anyone a straight answer? Every time he appears, he speaks in riddles, points people in a certain direction, and disappears before explaining anything. For years, fans have questioned why someone who seems to be on the townspeople's side refuses to simply tell them what they need to know. After episode 9, I think we finally have the missing piece of that puzzle. One line from Sophia changes the way we should look at almost everything that has happened in Fromville. She explains that this place is built on rituals, and with rituals, the method matters just as much as the goal. That single idea suddenly makes the boy in white's behavior make perfect sense. At first, it looked like he was being intentionally vague. But what if he wasn't trying to hide the truth? What if telling people the answer outright would actually prevent the ritual from working? When you start looking back through the series with that in mind, an interesting pattern begins to emerge. The biggest clue actually comes from Christopher. Long before Boyd and the current group arrived, the boy in white apparently tried a completely different approach. Instead of leaving hints, he directly revealed information to Christopher about the children. Whatever happened afterward ended in a disaster. We still don't know every detail surrounding that massacre, but we do know that Christopher's discovery was followed by one of the darkest events in the town's history. That failure may have taught the boy in white an important lesson. Later, when Victor asks why he never helped him, the boy in white gives an answer that seemed mysterious at first. He says he already tried helping Christopher, and now people need to figure things out themselves, because that's the only way they'll truly understand. For a long time, that line felt frustrating. Now it feels like the rule the entire town operates under. Instead of giving people solutions, the boy in white nudges them toward discoveries. He creates opportunities instead of handing over answers. The difference may seem small, but in a place controlled by rituals, it could mean everything. The bottle tree is probably the best example. Many people assume it's simply a magical portal that sends people wherever they want to go. But that's clearly not how it works. When Tabitha first entered the bottle tree, she ended up at the lighthouse before returning to the real world. At that particular moment, that destination served the story's purpose. Later, when she wanted to repeat the process, the boy in white stopped her. Notice that he didn't say the tree had stopped working. Instead, he suggested that she wouldn't reach the lighthouse this time. That implies the destination wasn't random. It depended on whether the journey fit the ritual that needed to happen. If Tabitha had forced the issue anyway, the outcome might have been much worse. We've already seen what can happen when someone uses the tree at the wrong moment. Dale never reached safety. Instead, he paid the ultimate price. The tree wasn't broken. The circumstances were. The same pattern appears several other times throughout the series. After the colony house attack, both Julie and Victor entered the same bottle tree, yet they arrived in completely different locations. Julie was taken to the root cellar. Victor was transported into the forest, where the boy in white instructed him to wait for Tabitha inside the tunnels. One tree, two people, two completely different destinations. That only makes sense if the tree isn't responding to location, it is responding to purpose. Another example comes from the Season 1 finale. Sarah follows the boy in white through the bottle tree. Boyd also ends up taking that journey. Again, they don't arrive together. Sarah reaches the church basement. Boyd finds himself trapped inside the dungeon, where he encounters Martin. At the time, that entire sequence seemed disconnected from everything else. Looking back, it triggered an enormous chain reaction. Boyd became infected with Martin's blood. That infection eventually led to Smiley's death. Smiley was later reborn through Fatima. And now, Fatima has become deeply connected to whatever happens next. Each event feels less like coincidence and more like another step in an enormous ritual unfolding over multiple seasons. The characters only see individual pieces. Someone else seems to understand the entire pattern. That brings us to the man in yellow. Unlike the boy in white, he appears to know exactly how these rituals are supposed to unfold. The difference is that he's trying to keep the cycle repeating instead of breaking it. This makes Sophia's actions much easier to understand. When Clara asks whether they should stop everyone from digging up the children's bones, Sophia refuses. That seems strange until you really pay attention to what she says. She admits they have the right idea.
She never says the plan itself is wrong. She says it won't work. Those are two very different things. The objective is correct. The method is not. That perfectly matches the rule about rituals. It's possible that digging up the bones was always necessary, but perhaps only certain people were meant to perform that task. Notice who receives guidance from the mysterious children. Not Boyd, not Donna, not the entire town. The signs consistently point toward Jade and Tabitha. By the time episode 9 arrives, the children appear before Tabitha once again. Instead of reacting with fear, she finally understands that they are trying to lead her somewhere. That reaction only becomes possible because of everything she has already experienced. Earlier in the series, she would have misunderstood their intentions. Now, after recovering memories of previous lives and playing the song that unlocked those memories, she can finally interpret the signs correctly. She wasn't simply given knowledge, she earned it. That's an important distinction. The same applies to Jade. For seasons, the symbol and the disturbing visions seemed like attacks. They appeared to be driving him toward insanity. Now, those visions look completely different. Instead of obstacles, they may have been preparing him for a role only he could fulfill.
Again, discovery happens through experience, not explanation. That seems to be the central rule governing Fromville. Knowledge has to be gained through the journey. Receiving the answer too early may actually ruin the outcome. That also explains why the boy in white rarely interferes directly. Imagine if he had walked into town and told Boyd exactly how to escape. Would Boyd have believed him? Probably not. Even worse, acting on incomplete understanding might have produced another Christopher situation. The boy in white may be avoiding that exact mistake. He's trying to guide people without violating the ritual itself. Even Victor's desperate attempt to stop everyone from pulling up the bottle tree suddenly carries much more weight. Victor survived alone in that nightmare for decades. He understands things no one else does. When someone with that much experience completely loses his composure over a single tree, maybe everyone should have stopped long enough to ask why. Instead, they ignored him. That decision may prove catastrophic. Sophia cutting the ladder also deserves attention. At first glance, it looks like simple sabotage. But if Jade and Tabitha truly are following the correct path this time, preventing outside interference becomes even more important. Maybe the ritual only succeeds if the right people enter the tunnels. Maybe too many participants would cause it to fail. Or perhaps the children's protection only extends to those directly involved. We don't know the exact rules yet, but the show keeps reminding us that the details matter. Small choices produce massive consequences. Even Fatima's role feels increasingly significant. With Smiley's return and her unusual connection to him, it's difficult to imagine that her story is finished. If she was capable of influencing Smiley once before, perhaps she'll become the key to stopping him again when Jade and Tabitha need help the most. That possibility also raises questions about why Sophia wanted Clara to poison Fatima. Removing her from the equation at exactly the right moment may not be a coincidence. As all these pieces come together, one phrase continues to stand out. Knowledge comes with a cost. Originally, that line sounded like a warning aimed at Jade and Tabitha. Now it feels like the philosophy behind the entire town. Every revelation demands something in return. Every shortcut carries consequences. Every ritual requires the proper sequence of events. Viewed through that lens, the boy in white isn't failing to help. He's helping in the only way that actually works. He's leaving clues, creating opportunities, pushing the right people toward the right discoveries without breaking the rules that govern this place. Meanwhile, the man in yellow has only one objective: preserve the cycle. One wants the story to repeat forever.
The other only needs a single cycle to change everything. And that's why episode 9 changes how we should see the boy in white. He was never withholding information because he didn't care. He was protecting the process. Whether that process finally succeeds depends on what Jade and Tabitha do next. If they truly complete the ritual the way it's meant to be completed, this could become the first cycle that doesn't end the way every previous one did. And if that happens, the boy in white may finally prove that every cryptic clue, every carefully placed breadcrumb, and every frustratingly vague conversation was leading to this moment all along.